Let's go to YouTube. All right, I'm going to go to Theology Central. Find our broadcast. There we are. Let's go to YouTube. Test 1, 2, 3. I hear a car in the background. All right, I'm going to go to... I hate when the microphone picks up all that sound outside, but there's not, I mean, you know, unless I start going in and investing some serious amounts of money, I can't prevent that from happening, but that's okay. There goes the notification. Oh, wait, how come we just got 2 notifications? That's a bad sign. All right, let's see here. If we get disconnected, we get disconnected. I'm going to just risk it. I'm going to risk it. I hope it's a smart decision, but that's okay. I'm going to try. Here we go. Going to listen. Hang on. I'm trying to make sure we sound okay, but it won't play. Okay. All right, let's see if the website, is the website having technical problems? Now the website won't refresh. All right, we'll give it a couple of seconds here, make sure we're not having some technical problem. Oh, the website is, okay, there it goes. All right. Here we go. Wait, now it's not playing. What is going on? Did we get disconnected? We may be having some technical difficulties here. Yeah, the website's freezing up. Okay, hang on. All right, why is it not playing? Now it's just spinning. I cannot get things to work here. So either I'm having internet problems or Sermon Audio is having some problems. Hang on, I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back to Sermon Audio here. All my podcast notifications are coming through. Yeah, it won't play. That's a bad sign. That's why I still have, okay, now. All right, I'm going to go to, let's see, I'm going to go to the Sermon Audio app. Okay, will it play here? It will not play. Oh, no, it will not play. Oh, there we go. Okay, will it play here? Okay, it's playing on the Sermon Audio app. All right, now let's see if we can go back to the website and see if it will play. Okay, hang on, doing a refresh. All right, hit play. Oh, there we go. All right, now it's working. Okay, I don't know what was happening. We were having some major technical difficulties, what we were having, but I think we're okay now. I don't know what was going on. Once again, sometimes what proves whether things are working or not working is when the map is working. And the map is not working because it tells me 0 people are listening. And I've already clicked on the audio feed, 3, 4 times. So it should at least be saying there's 1 listener from Texas. So that means something is not right on the backside, which always makes me nervous to continue the broadcast because, do you want to try here? But I'm going to do this anyway. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I'm looking at all. Something is not right. Nervous to continue the. Okay, that looks good. All right. Everything seems to be stable. All right. The map is just going to tell me nobody is listening. I'm going to assume someone somewhere is. And we'll give this a shot. I'm going to do my very best to give this to make this work. I'm going to try here. Just give me a second. All right. Have my notes ready. Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. We go live in 5, 4, 3, 2. and 1.
Looking at our world from a theological perspective, this is the Theology Central Podcast, making theology central.
Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, October the 6th, 2025. It is currently 11:02 a.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from the Theology Central studio located right here in Abilene, Texas. Well, this is another episode in our ongoing series, the Sermon Audio Daily. The whole goal of this series is to help you discover what's new, what's hidden, and what's worth hearing on the Sermon Audio platform, whether that's sermonaudio.com, the Sermon Audio the Sermon Audio app. Yeah, the Sermon Audio website and the Sermon Audio app. I'll discover how to perfectly explain it to you. Okay, so let me say it again. Welcome to Sermon Audio Daily. The goal here is to help you discover what's new, what's hidden, what's worth hearing on the Sermon Audio platform. That includes the website and the app. Ooh, did I get that right that time? Are you thoroughly impressed? Okay, probably not. Probably not. But here's what you need to know, and I'm going to say this every single time. Every day, thousands of sermons are uploaded to the Sermon Audio platform. And what happens when you upload that much content? Well, things get buried. Things just become hidden. And so what I'm going to try to do each day on the Sermon Audio Daily is turn on the microphone and try to point you to specific content, maybe a broadcaster, maybe a series, maybe a playlist of sermons that I put together, maybe just one sermon. And then, of course, we'll put links in the show notes so that you can access it directly from there. I will also give you the name and everything so that you can look it up on the Sermon Audio app or the Sermon Audio website. The key is just to try to get you to the content, because time and time again, if you look around on the Sermon Audio website or the app, you'll find a sermon, you'll find a theological discussion, you'll find a Bible study or a devotional, and you'll look and it'll have like 5 downloads, 6 downloads, 10. And it's been sitting there for like 6 months or a year, sometimes even a couple of years. And you're like, what? Nobody's ever going to find this. No one's ever going to discover this, because since that's been uploaded, thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of things have been added. And so it just kind of gets buried. So I'm here to be your guide. I'm here to help you discover, hopefully, things interesting. Now, what I have discovered personally since I've started this series is that sometimes I don't even know, like I'm getting overwhelmed just looking at all the content. Like I'll be looking here, listening to this, hitting play on this, and I'll be like, whoa, well, I could do this. Well, I could suggest this. Well, I could make a playlist of this. Well, wait, what about this series? Wait, here's a message. And I don't even know where to begin and where to end because it's overwhelming to me. It's overwhelming to me. But I will be overwhelmed so that you don't have to try to sit there and try to figure out what to listen to. You can just, come here to the Sermon Audio Daily and I will point you in the right direction. Now, I do want to remind you of a message that I suggested on the Sermon Audio Daily, yesterday or the day before, I don't remember, right? But recently, the name of that message is The History of Fundamentalism. It comes from the 1999 Pastors College, and the speaker is Dr. Bob Dalton. Now, the reason I want to remind you of that one, and you may want to go listen to it again, The History of Fundamentalism from the 1999 Pastors College, Dr. Bob Dalton. Now, the reason you may want to listen to that is this is going to be one of those examples where I suggested it to you, I went and listened, and in the message, he mentions something. He mentions a document in history. And I was like, in fact, it was around 4 a.m. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start gathering some information, doing some basic research. And I'm going to do a message on that document that's mentioned in the History of Fundamentalism. So if you listen to it, then you'll be familiar with the specific document. I'm not giving it away now. I mean, I've got to offer a tease, right? So, and then I don't know, maybe today I'll get to it. And also there's another series I stumbled upon that talks about tears. And so it got me really thinking, right? Whether I agree or disagree is irrelevant. It just got me thinking. And then I spent about an hour and I'm developed a mini series where we're going to track, map out, trace all the tears in the book of Psalms. Could be interesting. And that was once again inspired by something I heard on the Sermon Audio app. I'll make a recommendation for the sermon that sparked this mini series that I'm going to do. But the history of fundamentalism, I will do a message that was inspired by that sometime today, and then maybe I don't know when I'll do the tears thing. That's gonna take a lot of work. I already did a lot of work on it, so we'll get to that soon. So I just want to make sure you know that I'm continuing to look and search, and I'm listening, and I'm already being impacted by what I'm searching and looking and listening for. And I'm going to do my very best to bring you content that I hope is beneficial. Again, remember, beneficial doesn't mean that we agree with it. It just means I think, okay, this could be valuable. Sometimes it may be valuable because, I'm not going to say on the Sermon Audio Daily, but I may think it's absolutely horrible, but I think it demonstrates something. So sometimes I may think it's bad, but I still think it's beneficial. I'm not going to ever say good or bad on the Sermon Audio Daily because the here is just to help you discover things and let you determine your own. You come to your own determination whether you think it's beneficial or not. All right, so are you ready? Today, on the Sermon Audio Daily, I want to feature an ongoing teaching series. It's about to wrap up, but I want to go ahead and point you to it, all right? So instead of me introducing the series itself, this is what I decided to do. Let's listen to the pastor himself introduce the series, all right? So it's an ongoing series. There's going to be 7 messages. They uploaded number 6 yesterday. So I'm assuming next Sunday they will upload number 7. So you have an entire week to listen and catch up and be ready for number 7 when it drops on Sunday. So I think that makes it interesting since it's an ongoing series. Some of the numbers were okay. So it's not one of those broadcasters or series that nobody is listening to. But I just thought, since I stumbled upon it while the series is still going on, that'll make it a little bit more interesting. So, but I decided, I went and looked, and I went all the way to the first message, which is the intro. And I'm like, okay, well, since they're introducing the entire series, instead of me just telling you about it, I'll let you hear the pastor himself. And so you'll kind of know his tone, his style, and you'll see if it's something you want to check out this week. So are you ready? Here we go. I'm going to let the pastor introduce this series. I'm not giving you the name of the series. I'm not even telling you what it's about. I'll let him do that right now.
All right, let's open up the 1 Corinthians chapter number 4. 1 Corinthians chapter number 4. I've never really taught specifically on the 7 mysteries, so I want to give you the information on the mysteries of God. I think Brother Chris might have done mysteries. You've done that before? 1 Corinthians chapter number 4. Today may just only be an introduction, and maybe we'll get into the first one. But 1 Corinthians chapter number 4, notice a couple things here. 1 Corinthians chapter number 4, he says, "Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Christ and stewards of the mysteries of God. Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful." So Paul says we're ministers, and being a minister, we are stewards, we're entrusted with. You think of a steward, there's someone that's in charge of something to have management over. Like you think of a stewardess on an airplane, they're in charge of the passengers there. So a steward is someone entrusted with something, and a minister is to be a steward of the mysteries of God, he says. And then he goes on to say in verse 2, it's required in stewards that a man be found faithful. So if someone's not faithful, like if you've got somebody that works for you and they're not a faithful worker and faithful employee, you're not going to put them in charge of other things. The reason a lot of people never make promotion is because they're just not very good at what they do. They're not entrusted with things, so they're not taken to the next level. But you find someone that's really faithful and a hard worker, then they can be trusted with more, like Joseph. He was faithful, and he was promoted as a steward over all the things of Potiphar's house there. And so a preacher, a minister ought to be faithful, and he's required to be faithful over the mysteries of God. So I'm going to talk to you about the mysteries of God and give you a Bible study on this. There's some information here in the beginning we're going to look at, because there's a lot more to it, I think, than we oftentimes just bust down the doors and go through and say, here are the different mysteries. Now, that word mystery is obviously used in the Bible quite a bit, but when we think about a mystery itself, a mystery is something that's not understood beyond our understanding. A mystery is like what we'd call an enigma. When you think about in the Bible, it is a biblical truth that can only be understood by revelation. That's a good way to define the mysteries of God. A biblical truth that can only be understood by revelation. If it wasn't a mystery, we would completely understand it. And so you need to get that the mysteries of God are just that. They're mysteries. Have you ever watched those programs? We like documentaries, and sometimes I'll have documentaries on maybe the mysteries of the earth or the mysteries of whatever. And they'll show you this thing, here's this phenomenon down in South America, and they go through this whole thing. Well, they start off, it's very intriguing, very fascinating. By the time 30 or 40 minutes go by and you're at the end of the program, you realize they didn't tell you anything more than they told you at the beginning. It's still a mystery. You remember that program years ago, Unsolved Mysteries? By the end of the show, they still were unsolved. And you just wasted 30 minutes of your life. You could have just listened to the first part of it, shut it off, and you'd have been done. It's just a big circle. After a while, it gets troubling. I'm one of those people, if you present me a problem, I hope you present the answer and we can solve the problem and be done with it. It kind of brings a sense of satisfaction. But the idea, here's the mystery, and then at the end of it, you're like, yeah, boy, that's a mystery. Well, it's kind of like that when you study the mysteries of God in the Bible. You can't get to the bottom of it. It's bottomless. So you want to get that. Now, also, let me say a word about the fascination with mysteries.
And I'll stop right there. That is the first message in a series called 7 Mysteries, preached by Pastor David Walker. All right, the name of the series is 7 Mysteries. The name of the pastor is David Walker, and that series is now available on the Sermon Audio platform, the website, and the Sermon Audio app. So far, they have uploaded 6 messages, but considering it's called 7 Mysteries, that would tell me they're going to drop number 7. I'm assuming next Sunday, because it sounds like they're doing this on Sundays. And so each Sunday they are covering a mystery. So first Sunday was the introduction. I'm assuming they covered the first mystery. Then they moved on and moved on and moved on. So please go look it up and check for it now. If you cannot find it, or if you don't want to even look, I will include a link to the series in the show notes so that you can access it that way, especially for those listening on other platforms. You're not even on the Sermon Audio platform. I would challenge everyone, download the Sermon Audio app so that for the Sermon Audio Daily, well, it'll be easy for you to find the content. All right, so here are the lineup of messages so far. Again, these are currently available in the series called 7 Mysteries by David Walker. All right, here we go. The first message was called Mysteries in the Bible Intro, and that covered 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 1 through 2, which you heard him read in that introduction. The second message is called The Incarnation of God, and it covers 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. The third message is called The Indwelling Christ, Colossians chapter 1, verses 24 through 29. The fourth message is called the body of Christ, Ephesians 5:25-33. Number 5 is the rapture, 1 Corinthians 15 and 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. And number 6 is the blindness of Israel, Romans chapter 11. And a seventh mystery is likely, well, not likely, it's on its way. And that should complete the series. I want to say likely because you never know if something's going to happen and the pastor just doesn't finish the series. I mean, that does happen. So I'll say likely, but let's just say a seventh is on its way. All right. And if you're thinking about the seven mysteries in the Bible, what do you think number 7 is going to be? What do you think? We have the incarnation, we have the indwelling of Christ, we have the body of Christ, we have the rapture, and we have the blindness of Israel. What do you think the 7th is? Isn't there in the Bible the mystery of ungodliness, or am I wrong there? I think there is, right? Isn't there a passage that refers to the mystery of ungodliness? I believe so, right? I think so. Am I right? I believe so. I'm going with the fact that I'm right, that my memory is right. But so I think that that's probably what number 7 is. I could be completely wrong. Now, they may not be labeling them that way, so they may call it something else. But I think that's the case. You can do a search and check on that. But and if it is, that one could be interesting for a lot of reasons. So maybe I would do some teaching on it myself. All right. So I hope that you would, consider this series, even if you agree or disagree. Let's say you don't believe in a rapture, right? Well, he covers 1 Corinthians 15 and 1 Thessalonians 4. You can at least hear, I'm assuming it's going to be a pretty standard presentation of rapture theology there, but whether you agree or disagree, you can at least hear his perspective. The blindness of Israel, that could be very interesting to hear. Obviously, the incarnation of God, isn't that the mystery of godliness is the incarnation? The mystery of godliness is the incarnation, so the mystery of ungodliness. Okay, all right, I'm ready to start diving in and doing my own teaching. But see, that's what makes that wonderful, right? Whether I agree with the series or disagree with the series, it already makes me want to just start digging in and thinking and studying and meditating. And that's what we hope to, that's what we want to happen here on the Sermon Audio Daily, all right? So I hope that you find the series beneficial, and you can just pick and choose whichever one you want. I mean, you're under no obligation to listen to any, but there you go. So the 7 mysteries, those messages are now available on Sermon Audio with the final installment, the final message, probably expected, I'm assuming, this coming Sunday. All right. I'll put a link to the full series in the show notes so that you can start from the introduction, or you can jump straight into any of the topics that interest you. All right. And hopefully you'll find it to be beneficial. So that's today's discovery for the Sermon Audio Daily, where I'm going to do my very best in every episode to highlight voices, series, sermons that you might otherwise never find, you may never stumble upon, you may never discover. And it just makes it easy because I'm handing it to you right there. So check out the show notes, check out the 7 mysteries, consider, think, meditate, and, until tomorrow, happy listening. God bless.